everybody, thanks for tuning in. My name is Pete, and in this video I'll be explaining the rules for Homeport. It's the Ultimate Shipping Team board game. Alright, so as you know, you need 7 game point tokens to win the game. So in front of me here, I've got all the different options of how to acquire a game point token. So the first 3 you get to acquire by buying ships. So the first one you start the game off with, and that's for your first ship. And the other 2 ships that you can buy, once you've bought them, you acquire the game point token onto the player card. The next 4 game point tokens can be acquired by reaching your objectives. So once an objective is reached, you get your game point token and place it on top of your objective card. Similarly, if you have received 3 Pay Now port cards, you get to exchange that for the sympathy card, and you get a game point token that you can place on the sympathy card to count towards your 7. And the donation card, if you have a lot of cash and you want to donate to the Logos Hope ship, you can do so and receive a free game point token. And then the last one, and this is actually quite a big one in the game, is the port cards that you get, and it says receive a free game point token in exchange for that card. So once you picked up a card like that, you can get a game point token and place it on there. So those are all the different ways of receiving game point tokens that can help you to win the game. Alright, so now to explain the objective cards. So each person receives 4 objective cards. One of the objective cards deals with the fish resource, another deals with the oil resource, and 2 of them pertains to containers. Alright, so I'm going to look at my first objective. My first objective is to acquire 3 red containers in my port. So I've got a red port. Currently, or when we start, there are no red containers in my port. So my first objective would be to go and collect the red containers from other ports and bring them back to my own port. But my second objective is to remove all the other color containers from my port. So what I would do is I would buy, during my turn to buy, another color container, and then during my turn to sail or roll, I would sail it to the other port and then sell that resource in that port, buy my red one during my next turn to buy, and then I would sail my red ship with a red container on back to my own port and sell the red container in my own port. Doing that once gives me 1 red container in my own port. If I've done that 3 times to acquire the 3 red containers in my own port, I would have reached the first objective. So basically, for doing that, so let's say for instance I've got that one in my port as well as that one in my port, then we can now see I've got 3 red containers in my port and I receive a game point token for doing that. At the bottom it says, once completed, restock 1 red container to the price ladder. So take one of these red containers and put it on the price ladder, and that pushes up the price of buying and selling containers. Awesome. So let's say for instance the game continues and now I've removed all of my other colored containers from the port as well. So just a note on that, you don't have to sell the green container into the green port. You can sell it at any place. So if you want to help the green player, sure you can. But if you actually want to make it more difficult for him, you can sell the green one into the blue port, for instance. Alright, but let's say I've removed all the other color containers as well. Then I've got no other color containers in my port, and I receive a free game point token for that. And it says at the bottom, restock another 1 red container to the price ladder. And again, that pushes up the price. Great, so both of those objectives are pertaining to the containers. My third objective is to acquire 4 oil resources in my port. So for that, I would need to buy my oil tanker. If I have enough cash, I would buy the oil tanker. During my turn to buy, I would receive a game point token for that. Cool. Then, as the game continues, I will sail to the oil rig. I would buy some oil or oil barrels, and I would bring it back and place it into my port during my turn to sell. For all of those transactions, I would obviously need to pay and receive money from the bank, as well as buy port cards for berthing fees. Alright, so if I've done that 4 times and I've got 4 oil resources in my port, I would achieve my third objective, and for that I would also get another game point token. And again at the bottom it says restock 3 oil barrels to the oil rig. So I would take 3 from my port, place it back at the oil rig for other people to buy. And the fourth one, it says add 1 oil barrel to the price ladder. So I would place that one on the price ladder. Alright, so let's say for instance we are playing and I just sailed into port and I have to buy another port card. So I paid berthing fees and I pick up this card and I see, oh, I have to pay now, and it says pay your fuel account of 400 HP. But unfortunately I only have 200 HP on hand, which means that I'm out of cash. In that instance, I can decide to trade one of my game point tokens to the bank and receive 1500 HP in return. Alright, so I can at any time trade one of my game point tokens to the bank for 1500 HP, and then with this money I can pay my card. Alright. Now, in the unfortunate event of having picked up 3 pay now cards, there's actually something called a sympathy card. And that's this additional objective card here that says for receiving 3 pay now port cards, you can trade all 3 of these ones in for the sympathy card, and then you get a game point token for that as well. And similar to life, sometimes when a series of bad things happen in your life, we can learn from it, you know, and then you can actually use those bad things to take you further in life. Also, let's say for instance you have too much cash. So I've got a lot of cash here during the gameplay, I've made a lot of profit. Then I can decide to donate 2000 HP to the Logos Hope by using this donation card. And for doing that, I also receive another game point token. So 2000 HP to the bank gives me this card and a game point token that I can also place in front of me to add to the 7 game point tokens that I need to win the game. Furthermore, we also have port cards that says receive a free game point token for this card, and those ones you can also place next to you with a game point token on top of it to add to your stash. Alright, so as you know, you can only win the game by acquiring 7 game point tokens. If you see that the game is getting too long or you don't have a lot of time to play, you can decide to only play until 5 game point tokens. Or if you have a lot of time and you say, let's play this game full on, let's go to 10 game point tokens. That's also possible. But for general, let's say 7 game point tokens. Alright, I think that's all the rules for now. I hope you enjoy playing the game, and please be so kind to share your pictures. On our Facebook page is Homeport Game. And yeah, hope you enjoy.